Hi everyone, my name is Ayana and I am a recent graduate from Columbia University School of Social Work, and I am excited to talk a little bit about my second year at Columbia. It has been a wild time, starting with my full year of internship, being part of the dialectical behavior therapy program at Columbia, and as well as trying to balance all of my classes. It's been a wild ride, and I'm excited to share a little bit more about my journey into now my full-time job as a licensed social worker providing clinical services through telehealth therapy in Ohio, New Jersey, and New York. And just talk a little bit more about how did I get my licenses, how did the job come about, and what the next steps of my career looks like as a licensed social worker. So let's get into it. So before heading into the start of fall 2023, I had just finished some summer classes. I had 2 summer classes that was all about intro to DBT and behavior therapy. I had a lot of readings all about DBT, and also my practicum placement mailed me the different manuals, treatment manuals that I was going to be using throughout my year of the internship. So it was just a lot of onboarding and things that I had to get done for the summer before even getting into fall 2023. But we made it, we did it. And so my fall classes, it was pretty heavy. I had all of my classes scheduled for Tuesday, and being part of the DBT program, we had extra classes that we needed to take. There was one point in the semester where we had to come in on the weekend where we did a whole full training on suicide prevention and intervention. And then for the practicum hours, DBT program, it's extra hours. So I was doing 30 hours per week for my practicum placement. So it was pretty packed, and that's why I had all my classes all on one day on Tuesday. So I was up at 4 a.m. and I was done with my day by 8 p.m. With a mix of in-person classes, and I also had actually two online classes. So it was a lot, and I was pretty tired and still trying to do all the things, but it was exciting and it was worth it, and I learned so much. I feel like I made the best decision with my practicum placement. So second year students do get to choose their practicum placement versus first year students, we were just placed anywhere. And yes, you filled out the form with where you were hoping to be placed and what your preferences were, and you sent your resume and things with that shows your experience, and you kind of get matched to the placement, hopefully based on your experience. But second year is a little bit more flexibility where you get to decide where you want to be placed. The DBT program, though, had very specific placements to choose from because your supervisor had to have been certified or trained in DBT, and the whole practicum site as a whole needed to be a DBT program, and not a lot of placements had that, so that kind of limited options. But I still had a say, and I decided to be placed with CEBT Ohio. It was a fully remote placement, so that way I can still, yes, I was seeing Ohio clients, but I also was able to see New York and New Jersey clients too, especially because my supervisor was licensed in New York, New Jersey, and Ohio. So that allowed me to still be fully remote and be able to see clients across different states. So that was very cool. And I chose CEBT Ohio because they also specialize in eating disorders, which is an area that I'm really passionate about and wanted to go into more. A lot of my advocacy and nonprofit work is all focused on eating disorders, so was very excited to have the opportunity to do that. And it also ended up being where my new full-time job is CEBT Ohio. So I was hired straight from my practicum placement, and ideally that's what you want. Of course, if you have a really great supervision and it had a good experience at your practicum placement, hopefully it leads to employment, or you ask all the questions that you can and continue to make connections, and they can help refer you and write recommendations for jobs related into the field. So best case scenario, I was able to be hired for my placement, and I really had a great experience. It was up and down, but for the most part, a really great experience. So yes, class schedule was packed. Practicum hours was also packed. I did have a part-time job in my first year at Columbia, and then I quit that job. Thankful that I was able to take out the loans that I needed to still be able to have food, and I also live at home, so I was able to do that, thankfully, because I feel like I was really struggling my first year trying to keep the part-time job while being a full-time grad student. And so adding on the extra practicum hours, the extra classes, coming in on the weekend, trying to do that and my part-time job, for me personally, I felt like was a lot. So I made a decision to leave. I did save up some money. I had a summer job and did what I needed to do, took out extra loans, and was able for the second year of my time at Columbia to just focus on my classes and practicum hours, with the hopes that I would get hired from my internship so that I can, be able to support myself once I graduated. So some of my classes actually have a list of what my classes were. It was a lot. So I was taking harm reduction, advanced DBT, a DBT seminar, substance use, took a mindfulness class, because obviously DBT is all about mindfulness. That's part of the skills. Also adult psychopathology, which was amazing. That class really gave an overview of the DSM-5, it also just like prepared you for different clinical scenarios that you're going to run into. And one of the professors I had did a really great job of like the exam questions, which it was intense, the exams of the final exam and the midterm. However, it actually informed what the licensing exam was going to look like. So I'm very thankful to have taken that class, because I learned a lot about the different diagnoses, and I'm constantly referencing that in my job now. So thank you for that class, although it was intense. Also healthcare system, advanced clinical practice, clinical case evaluation, another class about dialectical behavior therapy, behavioral interventions, took an advocacy class. Yeah, it was a lot of classes to say the least. And so you had your core requirement classes that we needed to take on top of advanced clinical practice, and then also the DBT aspect of things. So I really enjoyed my internship at CBT Ohio. It was definitely intense as a full-time grad student, and just navigating all the things and the expectation that we would do about 20 to 30 hours a week. It was a lot, and it all worked out, right? Because I am now with them full-time as a full-time clinician, so very thankful. So yeah, my typical week was 5 clients for individual. I also had different trainings that I was going through. It's just like an ongoing training in DBT, and also unified protocol treatment, which is like a CBT, motivational interviewing type of treatments, as well as at 8 in the morning we had DBT consultation team, which is like therapy for the therapist, and also to seek guidance on different cases that we're working on, as well as some case management and helping people with referrals, and had really great supervision. I think that was like the highlight of my internship experience, and something that I really encourage folks who are trying to choose the best practicum placement for them. Yeah, you want to try to choose something that you're interested in and it's aligned with your values and your job goals, but you want to make sure that you're always asking what supervision is like, because if I did not have my supervisor, I don't think I would have received the guidance that I needed to understand like what questions I needed to ask, how to advocate for myself. Also just having a space where I could be myself and share like any concerns that I'm having, any worries that I was having. Like supervision really is supposed to be a safe space where you are able to learn and also receive that constructive feedback as well. But it was also just a moment where I can just be like, I am drowning and I need help, like what do I do? and my supervisor was that person. So if we're talking highs and lows, my high at my practicum placement was definitely supervision. Looking at the lows, I definitely was losing my client to suicide. That was really hard. This wasn't a individual client. They were someone who was in my multifamily skills group, so I also had a close relationship with the parents as well. So that was a really difficult experience. Something that really helped me get through my second year after going through something like that so early on in my career and just as an intern, as a student, it was really heavy. And what helped me was the consultation team at my practicum placement. I was surrounded by other therapists who had similar experiences, and also just gave me a safe space to express how I was feeling and to also just cry and just feel held up and supported. As well as my student consultation team. So part of the BBT program meant that in our cohort we also created a consultation team, and that was also another safe space for me to express how I was feeling and to just receive all the validation and empathy and support that I needed. I was able to grieve and continue to grieve in a healthy way where it's not getting in the way of still moving forward with my goals in life and my career goals and just my personal life goals. And part of those goals was to become a licensed social worker. So if you are on the path to clinical social work, you are going to need your social work license. So starting in January, going into my final semester at Columbia University, that whole time was spent preparing for that exam. The ASWB exam is the national exam for social work licensing. I had to prepare for that, and I started the licensing application. So I live in New York City, and it's always wise to get licensed in the place that you live, but I also needed to be licensed in Ohio and New Jersey because those are the clients that I still wanted to continue working with and was hoping to get hired at my placement. So that was the plan. So if you live in New York and you're trying to get your social work license, you normally have to wait till after you graduate to be able to sit for the exam. However, New Jersey allows you to sit for the ASWB national exam your second year of social work school. So I was able to do that. So in January, I sent the application for New York and New Jersey, and then I applied to take the New Jersey exam, and I was able to transfer my scores to New York. And eventually I also did the application for Ohio, and I transferred my New Jersey scores to Ohio. So that was kind of like, we call it the New Jersey loophole. That's a loophole where if you want to take the exam early, you can do so by taking it in New Jersey. And I didn't have to actually go to New Jersey to sit for the exam. I was able to choose a testing site in New York. So that was super helpful. And during that time, I took my exam in April, and so just from January to April, it was like full go mode in studying. So I'm doing my 30 hours of practicum placement. I have 5 classes that I'm finishing up, and I'm trying to prepare for like life after grad school. And I was also studying for the exam. So like my second year was pretty tense and hectic. I was also trying to take some prep classes for the exam. I have really bad test anxiety, so I really wanted to participate in a test prep program that will help combat that, and I passed the exam. So it all worked out. It was just a very stressful time. And of course, another added stress to my last semester at Columbia. I cannot talk about Columbia without talking about our student activism and also the division that was occurring on campus. So as social workers, as students, I think it was really important that we named what was happening in Gaza, the starvation, forced starvation, going without water, without resources, loss of homes, loss of land, loss of peace, and the continued oppression and discrimination and forced starvation of entire peoples. Social work is about shining a light on that and showing up for the voiceless and showing up where there are people who are facing these terrible, devastating conditions. So it was really hard to watch the ways in which students on campus were treated, and I'm still very disgusted by it. I did not go to graduation. It was an easy decision, actually. I was just pretty fed up with the school, and I was trying to balance my anger, valid anger at the way Columbia treated their students, and then also uplifting me and acknowledging all of the hard work and dedication that I put into my 2 years at Columbia. I worked very hard, and I also had really supportive family who were right alongside me and also deserved to be celebrated. And I wanted to thank them for that and be with them, and just wanted the day to be about the accomplishment of making it to the finish line. So I opted to skip the graduation and just spend the day with my family. We were able to go out to a really nice dinner and drinks and everything, and it was really lovely. So that is how I ended Columbia. My goals for attending social work graduate school was so that I can be a full-time therapist, to specialize in eating disorders, to specialize in treating suicidality and other mood disorders, and I was able to reach that goal. I'm so happy and proud to say that I was hired for my internship, and I'm now a full-time clinician. I have my licensing in all 3 states, New Jersey, New York, and Ohio, and I'm doing the damn thing. So there's just so much room to grow. I'm so excited to see where else my career is going to take me. I also launched a mentoring program. I learned a lot of like what you need to do and what not to do as you prepare for licensing, as you make these really big decisions on, you know, what classes that you need to take, what grad program that you need to be going into, what practicum placements you should be choosing that is going to ultimately get you to that final destination of a, you know, your dream job. And so I'm hoping to provide that support to other social work students, and so that's the plans. So I really love volunteering, I love supporting other people in their social work journey, and I love being a therapist. And so it has been a crazy ride, and I'm very excited to see where else my career is going to go. I think my biggest takeaways from Columbia was making sure that I advocate for myself, that I really slow down and think about my needs and take care of myself, because it's really hard to look out for other people and support our communities when we are hurting ourselves. And so I really took that seriously and did my best to ask for help whenever I could. It's one of my biggest takeaways, that you do not need to work yourself to the bone where you're hurting and ignoring your needs and your health. You can still be successful and do the damn thing and get help along the way. Alright, so that is my 2nd year of Columbia University School of Social Work in the books. We're done, we've graduated. I'm thankful for you all for tuning in. Super excited. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly or leave a comment down below. Thank you guys. Bye.